I think maybe even Dirty Jersey Rat. Dirty Jersey. Yay! I love that song.
So yeah, guys, this is going to be about, Ethan Kline's kind of hitting the legal skids. And we talked about this before. He had a bunch of lawsuits he filed. He did against Hassan's hoes, Casey Tron, Frogan, and Denims. He also filed one against Noah Samson. If you guys don't know who Noah Samson is, you're better off for not knowing. Noah Samson is a bread tuber, meaning he's a commie. And, commies get their communism. That's what they get. And Ethan Kline sued him for defamation because Noah Samson said he was like a big genocide supporter. And that's just because they believe that you have to be all in on the genocide in Gaza or you're a bad person to them and you're evil. And they believe that Ethan Kline wasn't down with the struggle enough. So those are his kind of the big lawsuits he's got right now that are going. And we're going to talk about those tonight because they're all kind of resolving in one way or another. And generally the trend is not in favor of Ethan. He did start this journey by talking and making generational wealth for his lawyer. Yeah, he did. And you know what? Maybe the gods and the fates looked at him and said, that's hubris. Very well could have. Very well could have. Very well could have on this. Now, the other party in this saga with Hassan's hoes, well, remember, we had Casey Tron. She's already settled out and done. And as far as the three of them go, I think we would all agree, and I think even they would agree, and the attorneys of all this would agree, of the three people, ranking their cases strongest to weakest, Denims had the strongest. Frogan had the, comparatively, of the three. And then Casey Tron had the weakest. So, Casey Tron's gone. I guess I'm going to flip you guys off here, so deal with it. Casey Tron's gone. Denims is gone. We just have Frogan left. And Frogan, remember, we talked about this. Frogan had gone through default. She had been working with her attorney, or supposedly been working with an attorney. And then this case dragged on for months and months and months from October until April. And then all of a sudden, Ethan Kline and them moved for default because nothing had happened and nothing had been filed at all in the case. And yes, Ethan got a default entry against Frogan, but he hadn't executed it and the court hadn't ordered it yet. So it was there's still a way Ethan Kline has to go. He's still got to prove damages. The court still has to enter it and order it. So what has happened in the meantime? Well, Frogan created a post and yes, see, I hate you guys. Exactly. Anyways, guys, this is from Frogan, where she says, hi all. I know I've been quiet the last year what's been happening in my lawsuit, but I can partially explain to you what I've been dealing with. It says, TLDR, I hired Denim's legal defense team, and they're going to be representing me going forward. I intend to continue to fight the lawsuit, which, not a bad idea. These guys are experienced. They're already in the mix. They've done this already. So hiring Denim's legal team is actually a good idea. The only problem is, how much money did that cost you? Because that won't be cheap. They're not cheap at all. Now it says, on to the detailed version. Unlike what has been said and speculated, my previous legal team has been in communication with Ethan's team since August of 2025. You say that, but literally we have no idea. And forgive me if I'm not going to take your word for it. Now, if Ethan and his team had said that you guys hadn't been communicating, and that's a lie, well, you can go ahead and go into court and say, Your Honor, they've lied, and hold them accountable. So we'll see if you do that. I mean, if we're going to be talking about it, we'll find out. It says, during this time with Ethan's team, it was months and months of negotiations. When you enter settlement negotiations, you are given a list of ways to potentially settle, which I ultimately disagreed with. After negotiations failed, my case defaulted. Yeah. And at least she's admitting a default, because I guess she went on a big fucking spur rant today about how people got it wrong. It's like, no, you entered default. You defaulted. You and your attorney fucked around, it sounds like. After my case defaulted, I attempted to find a new lawyer. I reached out and scheduled a meeting with Denham's legal team to do this, and it says, I have retained them, and they will be representing me going forward. I intend to continue to fight the lawsuit. Well, that's good. Now, what are the steps here? Is ineffectual assistant counsel a card for Frogan to play? No. Frogan hired the attorney she had. And there's generally an issue of, well, you kind of hired him, it's on you. Number one. Number two, this is a civil case, so courts really don't care. And it's just the negotiations didn't work, and it just sounds like Frogan didn't want to settle. And I'm sure whoever she had, she made an effort of not paying them at all or paying them the smallest amount possible. So I'm sure that the attorney set it up so he could just walk off and leave her twisting in the wind if she tried to stiff him. And, wouldn't be surprised if she did. So what did we get from here? Well, we got on the 14th, Ethan's team and Frogan's new legal team sat down. And they addressed this issue of default, partially. This isn't all done, but we've got some things set now, which kind of explain a little bit of this. And guys, it's only a couple pages, so don't worry. It's only like 4. So they point out on June 19th, Ethan commenced this action by filing a complaint against Frogan. On August 5th, the parties entered a joint stipulation to extend her deadline to October 3rd. And they say on May 19th, Ethan asked for a default. On May 20th, the clerk entered a default. And the clerk entering default is only part of this process. The court has to enter a default against her. And then they have to do damages, and they have to do all of them. The court has to enforce the order. So just getting that alone wasn't the end of the game. And we talked about this already. On June 30th, Ethan filed an application for default pursuant to the federal rules. And there is a hearing set for August 17th at 1:30 p.m. And that is where the court goes into everything. Because Frogan still has the right to show up at hearings. And I told you, this is where she could come in and say, wait, guys, look, judge, sorry. If she was entirely pro se, she would 100% be able to come and say, look, I didn't understand what's going on. I didn't know. Please let me in. Or there are times where parties might come in and say, I never received any notice. Nobody ever got a hold of me. Judge, I want to defend this case. And the court will say, all right, we're throwing out the default. We're back to square one. Serve the complaint and then answer the complaint. Well, on June 9th, Frogan retained Frost LLP as her counsel. On July 10th, they contacted Ethan's counsel regarding whether they would stipulate setting aside the default. Now, remember, you have to meet and confer. It's always an issue with Russell Greer. And a lot of these guys, meeting and conferring is one of the big things you have to do. If you don't agree, that's fine, but you have to at least sit down and say, we tried. So what happened? July 13th, they met and conferred regarding a potential stipulation to set aside default, Frogan's potential motion to set aside the default, and Ethan's pending applications. So they're like, look, are we going to get rid of this? Maybe. So the hearing has been continued 6 weeks to the end of September, so the parties may explore whether the issue can be resolved by stipulation in order to obviate the need for motion practice in connection with the application and the motion to set aside the default. So basically, they're going to try to work this out, and Ethan is giving them time because he's already got the default in his hand. And he's like, fine, I'll give you more time. We'll try to figure something out here. And there's going to be some more negotiation and figuring out of what options are available to them for Frogan. So she may do something, she might not. Yeah, and that's the thing here. Frogan might have malpractice, but I don't know. I would assume the attorney in her case was pretty good at covering his ass. So, ultimately, historically, White said she's going to get steamrolled. I mean, maybe. She's got the opportunity to fight. Or are you talking about in the case itself? I don't know. Once Procumate puts on the burqa, she'll be my wife. So they're going to take some time to figure this out. So the default is not a done deal. They're going to deal with it at the end of September. So we got a long ways to wait before anything happens. They could also agree ahead of time to say, Your Honor, we agree to set aside the default. They could. So there's good cause to exist for extending the application hearing to allow the parties in good faith discussions. And the court's going to allow that because you know what? She finally got attorneys. These attorneys know what they're doing. If they can resolve it without the court getting involved, the judge is going to love it. This is not to delay or for any other purpose. There are no other hearings or deadlines currently set. And that's the other thing, too. Nothing else has been set in this case. We're not to discovery deadlines, trials. It's not like Destiny and Pixie where stuff is coming up. So ultimately, they're asking us to get reset to the 28th, and the judge did agree to that. So it's reset to the 26th or 28th, 1:30 p.m. So Jefferson Post says, I think I heard Les say that Frogan's former attorney was some flat rate guy. I mean, ultimately, a lot of attorneys do flat rate. Like, that's kind of like, you know, like not every, like most people can't afford to do hourly work, pay for hourly work. And honestly, for Frogan's situation of like, hey, can you help me see if I can negotiate a resolution to this? Yeah, it's only going to be so much work that's put into it anyway. So that doesn't really surprise me that that happened. And then I know I heard Shamu playing some of Luss's stuff where he's like, I love you, Ethan, and all that. It's like, you know, you can, like, no, like, you could take one side or another, but come on, man. Don't start acting like you love people like that. Yes, but are they penny lawyers? No. That's only me per Destiny as a penny lawyer. So that is what happened here. So right now, Frogan is not out of the fight, but she's not back in the fight. She's kind of in purgatory. Like this one truly is up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen yet, and we'll find out. Yeah. And Maria says, like, hungry lawyers have to do more flat rate because you need to make sure you get paid up front. Well, unless you've got like a really good client. Yeah, but I mean, most people aren't going to keep paying. And like somebody like Frogan, I wouldn't trust her to keep paying. She's kind of like sketch in that regard. So yeah, I'd want the money up front.